Welcome to Show, Don't Tell, a podcast by TelScreen's team of Wes Harris and Kent Harris, sharing their stories of being in the eye care industry in their unique, punny style with facilitator Christy. Welcome to this latest episode of
Show, Don't Tell,
hosted by Kent Harris and Wes Harris. The brothers are back. Kent was gone in our last episode, and we had some technical difficulties, so it was just me and Wes and my feeble attempt at being punny.
Coincidence? I think not. Technical difficulties, Kent's not there.
Par for the course.
So now you have the whole crew. In this episode, we're going to talk about customer service.
Because it's not important at all in this economy, let's face it, nobody gives a crap about that anymore.
Who fracking cares anymore?
The default answer is we're having supply chain difficulties right now. I want to know what kind, is it a gold chain? Is it a silver chain? What kind of chains are they using for their supply?
All of the chains are having issues right now.
They clearly can't get the ball rolling because there's no ball and chains out there.
Unless you marry one.
And Kent's still looking for the missing link.
And ba-dum-ching. Wait, don't I have a button for that? Nope, that's the wrong button. Nope.
There
That's
we go. Found it.
So, what about customer service?
So I had two fabulous experiences with customer service on my return trip from last weekend.
Now, when you say fabulous, I'm sensing a slight hint of sarcasm.
So
Fabulous is an acronym. It's failed all believable. You name it.
So, Wes, experiences.
So coming back from a trip south last week, Thursday night, I figured I could get to West Memphis and then have an easy 6 hours or so home the next day. And apparently there was this piece of wood about the size of first base lying on this bridge under construction that found its way underneath my right tires and must have boomeranged across and slashed the inside sidewall of my left rear tire.
Oh, dang.
It's a ricochet.
So, not a blowout at high speed or low speed,
That's
thank
good.
goodness. But one of those 3 miles later, the pressure sensor comes on. I'm like, you know what? That might have something to do with what I ran over back there. So, limped into the hotel where I'd planned to stay anyway, parked it, and noticed that it was significantly down but not flat.
Okay.
So, wake up the next morning, it is flat, sitting firmly on the rim. Flat in the parking lot. So now it's time to change a tire. First tire change in this van. So it's finding the various pieces and where's the jack? Oh, we have a complete jack. That's good.
Well, once again, Wes was on a trip. He woke up tired. That's the summary.
I'm just thinking, this van, is this like a new van for you?
Well, it's a new used van.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we retired.
Less than a decade old. Brand new.
We retired one of the vans with 300 and some thousand miles on it and replaced it with one with only about 100,000 miles on it.
Gotcha. So you wake up the next morning, you got a lot to deal with already.
Right.
Yeah.
So the donut, new van to us. I don't know that we'd ever lowered the donut and checked it out. So assemble the T handle and crank it down. It's it's up under the middle of the van. So crank it down, fish it out. Yay! It's a fully inflated donut. So there's hope here. The jack goes up, the tire comes off, the donut goes on, and I'm meanwhile
Searching for tire places on your phone.
So no, not on my phone, on my laptop in the room. I'm not going to search for a tire place on a screen, that big. Tires are bigger than my phone, so I need a bigger screen to find them. But change the tire, wash up, and then go looking, call some tire places. Oh, we can get you in at 2:00 this afternoon. Well, that's a little bit later than I wanted to be. But called around, found a place that had tires in stock that would fit the van and could work me in that morning. So get there, they have free Wi-Fi, the wait's not too painful. They check it out. Is it possible to repair? No, it's in the sidewall. It's not in the tread, so non-repairable. Do I want one tire or two tires? Well, I'm the kind of guy that if I'm going to change tires, I'm going to change both of them on the same axle. I'm not going to go lopsided.
That just messes up the whole rhythm anyway.
Yes.
Well, then all your rotation and your balance and everything's all messed up. So.
Exactly.
So, anyway, I figure I'm in West Memphis. I'm probably paying the out-of-towner tax of some sort because you need a tire at the last minute. You're paying extra.
Right.
That's kind of a given. But anyway, get two tires. Put it on. It's not. I later talked to my mechanic here, and he said, "Yeah, that's probably about $80 more than it should have been." But I'm like, that's not too bad for flat tire in the middle of West Memphis, Arkansas, and part of the $80 was sales tax. Arkansas sales tax is like
10%.
Yeah, it's over 10% versus 6 in
10.1.
Kentucky. So yeah, part of it's a sales tax hit. But anyway, so the guy pulls up, drops the van off outside, walks in, and says, "Mr. Harris, your van's ready." So I go out and look at my van. In the passenger compartment, there is the donut and the cover for it still sitting in the passenger compartment. Now, if I weren't in a hurry to get home, I would have grabbed the manager and said, please go get your nice young man, bring him out here, and let's have a learning experience. I would just open the door and say, okay, manager, explain to this young man what could have been better.
Right.
It's bad enough having a flat tire in a neighboring state and, the time delay and all that stuff. It cost me a good 6 hours probably. But now I get home and I have another chore to do to put this spare tire back up under there. When the car's already on the lift, you can just...
Should have just been...
Put it up, yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So he left me with something extra to do. Now, I would have been delighted if they'd taken care of that problem. I mean, I'm still happy they got me two tires and got me on the road. Don't get me wrong. I'm still thrilled it wasn't midnight the next day.
Right.
Because if I'd taken the second tire place that said 2 o'clock, it probably would have been 4 o'clock. And, now you're getting home at 10 or 11. So, yeah, I'm grateful I got home, but they missed an opportunity to leave me delighted despite my misfortune.
Right.
On the plus side, however, I did get to make sure that the donut is properly inflated for next time and properly secured under the vehicle for next time. So I don't have to worry about it falling out.
See, I would think, in that situation, that's part of my expectation is that you put the thing back where it goes. Like,
Yeah, leave me a complete vehicle in which I can use it the way I used to.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, missed opportunity. Now, I have no influence in West Memphis. I'm not going to leave a nasty rating.
No, the governor's going to get a letter. I'm pretty sure. And
they had nothing to gain by making me a delighted customer other than not being mentioned on a podcast, and I'm not going to say their name. Their name is not the point. The point is there was an opportunity to thrill me that would have cost them nearly nothing, and they didn't do it. And if I'd had 30 minutes to spare, I would have gone back to the manager and said, hey, let's have some education here.
And that's really one side point about customer service and not meeting expectations or failing to go beyond expectations. The cost of that is the opportunity cost of a happy, delighted customer. And nobody in business has come up with anything that I've ever read that tells me what's the economic value of a delighted customer or a delighted experience. I mean, we've got some metrics now on social media about you get 1 million followers or a story goes viral and that's worth so many dollars, however many dollars per million.
Yeah, like name, image, and likeness companies for college athletics have basically come up with a formula to monetize based upon your Facebook, Instagram, TikTok followers.
Yep.
You're worth X dollars.
Yep.
And that's a well-known metric if people are paying attention to you.
I'm worth like 5.
Wow, $5? I want to come work for you.
I might get you a blizzard nowadays.
I'm worth 1/10 of a cent.
I've been driving my cow car forever, just hoping Chick-fil-A will see me.
Well, and there's also what is the lifetime value of a customer? That's what you're talking about is taking it one step further into the qualitative aspect of, delighted customer. Yeah. Like I know the lifetime value of a repeat, like a retainer client, a repeat customer, they might bring me referrals. But what if they were more than just satisfied? They were delighted.
Right.
Yeah. And the second point that we've recently had some experiences with is sometimes customers don't tell you everything that's wrong. They may be using your product and it may be okay, or it may be doing a pretty good job, but they had some issue, but they just didn't really take the time to tell you because their time is money as well. And the time it takes to tell a person, like in Wes's case, 30 minutes to go get the manager and correct it and maybe another hour, that's another hour he wasn't on the road and getting home, and it wasn't worth that hour to go back and fix it. And not.
I was thinking it was a short lesson. I don't think it would have been an hour, but.
Well,
come here, boy.
Right.
I'm not going to say anything. I don't know the relative standing of Arkansas versus Kentucky, but on how long it might take to educate someone.
Yeah, this is not a case where Kentucky can throw any stones.
But not hearing about the complaint didn't even give the manager or the brand or the store owner a chance. I mean, if this would have been a big national chain, that he went to, then that might impact his decision on where do I go get tires. When the other two tires on the van need changing and you're out somewhere, that may make a difference.
I like where you're going with this because there was an on-site opportunity cost that was missed. And I get it, like the 30 minutes to, like you were in a hurry on your way. And now we're talking about like this moment on this podcast. What I know from most buyer behavior is they won't do it right then and there. They'll wait and they'll take all their rage out on a bad review.
on a troll post.
Yeah. Well, it didn't quite reach rage proportions. I mean, that'd be a little over the top. But
we want raving fans, not raging fans.
Well, just to show you how old I am, when I was upset about 20 years ago on a brokerage platform, an online brokerage platform where the software interface had changed. Some company had bought out some other company, and I was not happy. I went out and I looked the C-suite executives on the website, found who was the one for consumer brokerage, and I wrote them a letter. I mean, wrote and mailed a letter and just raged on them. Like, you guys really missed the boat, and, a 15-year-old could have written better software than this, and you really don't understand the market. And by the way, I'm a professional software developer. I got a call from that vice president assuring me that they were in development on working. They knew that they had limitations in their old platform, and the acquisition was in part of the merging. And I got a direct call. Even though I wasn't a big trader, I don't have a lot of money, so I'm just a little piddly consumer. But my voice was heard because I raged so much, I took a direct letter. And that's the equivalent of posting on social media and going viral, I think, in this day and age, perhaps. I mean,
well, if somebody wrote an actual letter in this day and age,
no one would read it. It would never get to anyone.
I actually, do they know how to put it, in the right box? But I think if it got to that person and they're like, oh, damn, they took the time they mean it. Like, this is not a bot just trolling a review. In that case, so how did you feel when you got that call?
When I got that call, they converted me back because I was already looking around at other brokerages because this was the rage where online brokerages were just starting to come, to happen. And so they won my confidence back, and sure enough, when they released the new product, it came out and it pretty much met all the major objections, and it was improved. And I'm like, okay, they've got their process in place. Boy, I really appreciate that attention to their consumer or their market. Oh, we might need to pause.
So you stuck with the brokerage. Did you ever let the guy know that you approved of the new changes?
I did. I did.
Fantastic.
He actually called after it was released. He called me twice. A second time, did you have a chance to review the new software? What did you think?
Well, look at them go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's
so
impressive.
They thrilled and delighted me, and I've been their customer ever since for the last 20 years. And they've had whatever meager trading fees, probably earned more than my shrewd investing has done, but hopefully they've made some money off me.
But But that's a great example of really going not necessarily, above and beyond. Like, you don't expect that.
They exceeded what we've come to expect from everyone else.
Yes, and I'm tired of this society telling me I need to lower my expectations and standards. So you said you had more stories.
So
bring it on.
Once you're on the road, every now and then you need some liquid refreshment, and so fill the gas tank.
Non-alcoholic.
Right.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
If you've seen pictures, you know that there's Mountain Dew involved usually.
Well, in this case, the display case, 20-ounce bottles, $2.49 a piece, 2 for $4.
Right.
And they have a little picture. It shows the Pepsi bottle, the Dr. Pepper bottle, the Mountain Dew bottle. So, it's covering the Pepsi products and associated things. So I grab a Dr. Pepper and a Mountain Dew, head for the register. And I'm thinking, okay, $4 in tax here. It's probably going to be $4.50 or something. And it was $5.50 some odd cents.
Okay.
And so I asked, aren't these 2 for $4? And the young girl at the register said, well, that's not what the register's showing. Well, I knew that part because it says $5.50 and it shouldn't have. So I explained. In the display case, it says 2 for $4, 20 ounces. These are 20 ounces. Their pictures are on the strip. It should be $4 in tax. And she says, well, that's not what the register's ringing up. Is there a button that you can use to fix that? No, I can't fix that. I'm feeling like your marketing ought to match what actually happens at the register. And she replies, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Oh. No, she did not.
Yes, she did. She was sorry I felt that way.
How old was she?
Probably 18 to 20.
Sure, got it.
She got the 5 minutes of training about empathizing with the customer's frustration.
Unfortunately, she needed the 5 minutes of training on how to use the register.
Oh, no. And she probably doesn't have permission to ring up a random discount. Can you imagine just letting your cashiers give discounts to anybody they wanted?
Sure. However.
But if there's no manager present and you have to do a correction, surely there would have been a...
Right. Anyway, at this point, I asked myself, does my thirst exceed my moral outrage?
Did you get to an effort point?
And I just inserted the chip and said, okay, let's roll. Because there's no point in, the person's powerless. I felt sorry for her because there truly was nothing she could do. She couldn't correct it. If the register's wrong and it doesn't match the advertising, I could show it to her, and she'd say, oh, it should be $4. But she still couldn't fix the problem. So this is a systemic issue, and yelling at her wouldn't have helped her day at all. And I certainly appreciate anybody that shows up for work today.
If you look at what convenience store brand is and go search for the board of directors for that company
and write a letter to the person
and send an email, because we're in the
2020s,
21st century now.
Right.
You might be, an email may or may not get through, but I guarantee you, if you put a registered letter in the mail for corporate communications and explain that you're a chief operating officer at a company who is on a business trip and this is what they got from one of your chain stores, maybe you need to invest some more training in your employees or your processes, because, all it takes is the mere suggestion that we may have to open up a class action lawsuit on truth in advertising and fraud.
We can't do
and,
that.
Pull the register tape. You've got every customer that was affected.
Now, getting back to that story of what's the cost of an unhappy customer and what's the value of a really satisfied customer. If you look at the extreme case, if Wes was the type of person where this was the straw that broke the camel's back, and he's educated, he's savvy, and he knows all the different levers that could be used, and wanted to take a little personal vendetta on this thing, they could have caused millions of dollars of problems for this company.
You are not wrong. And I've had my own stories that there's too many to name here in this conversation. But with all of the stories I have, when I come across these stories and I get a little on the excitable side about it, I remind myself, and sometimes I will say to my friends after I've told the story, I do know people. So it's like you cannot discount that a small business CEO going up against a huge titan can't make a difference. You can, because you know people that know people. Like, that's just the phrase, I know people, and I know that they know how to do that. So I've never pulled the actual trigger, but I know where they are.
Well, one LinkedIn post. Yeah, everybody that knows you that sees the notification checks it out. And
one viral Facebook post, one little video showing the thing, and now once it's saved and posted to social media, it lasts forever.
Well,
right?
And we went through all kinds of that during the shutdowns and the trying to reopens, and a lot of those examples when people just lost their ever-loving minds. Like, that went everywhere. So, okay, we get with the tire change, convenience store. Is this all on the same trip?
Yes. Yeah, this was within 2 hours of each other.
Oh, holy cow. Yeah. Okay.
But, I'm calm, cool, and collected, and I have Zen, so...
Well, this is already after the trip was over, so the stress of, had this been on the way to the trip, might be a little different story.
You have it now.
Right. But the other side of the coin, I got a call. I can't remember what day it was. What's today? Wednesday?
Today's Wednesday, yes.
Maybe it was Monday, from a doctor who's retiring and was wanting to sell his basic laying equipment, chair stand, slit lamp, four-opter, all the usual stuff, hand tools, etc. And wanted to know, basically, did we buy any of that stuff? Because we're in Louisville, he's in southern Indiana, closer to the Paducah, Evansville area, but not far away, and saw our name in a catalog or something. Old-fashioned catalog, not found online, but
okay.
Old-fashioned catalog.
Gotcha.
And I explained that I wasn't smart enough to make money in the used equipment business. I knew too many people that had 20,000 square foot warehouses filled with stuff that had been bought over the years and never resold.
Right.
And I looked at that and I said, my basement looks bad enough. I don't need ophthalmic equipment in there too.
But you needed to upgrade your basement, though. That's why they went into it.
But I explained that I knew 3 companies that were honest and ethical and would probably make an offer on some or all of his equipment. And so I looked up a contact person, if I knew one, or at the very least a phone number, and told them what city and state they were in, and gave them a list of 3 people that would probably have some interest. And he said, "You're the 4th person I've called and the first one that actually helped me."
Oh, wow.
Now, what's the value of a delighted retired doctor to TelScreen? Well, the retired doctor's still going to know people.
Yeah.
But we are not going to sell him anything. He's retiring, and he's retiring to something fun.
But he's going to be the guy that other people come to for those recommendations.
Or he'll recommend because he had a successful experience, I hope, with one of the people I recommended. And so he will hopefully have a positive thing to say. And
a lot of in the accounting world, they call that intangible, the intangible value.
Yeah.
And when you're buying something and you have to pay more than something is technically worth, that gets listed as an asset called goodwill. Well, this is a real example of customer service generated an asset called goodwill that you may or may not be able to monetize, but it's real. It is a real factor.
Well, we've talked before about how marketing works. People are not motivated by logic. They're motivated by what they want, and that's a desire. That's an emotional. We're emotional creatures that will rationalize a purchase. Mm-hmm. So having a delighted customer in the marketing terms, those are qualitative. Yeah. quantitative is all of the analytics that you guys love to see all those numbers. But qualitative is, what did they actually say and how did they feel when they said it? Did they say anything at all? Are they just like voyeuring all of the things? Like, do they, like, how do I grasp onto the feeling that is going to cause the next action? And I want to maximize the good vibes, minimize the bad ones.
So I don't know what he thought of, of the recommendations. I presume that he called people and will probably be selling equipment sometime before the end of the year and get his practice cleaned out and onto greener pastures. But whether it generates anything for us or not, I'll probably never know. But it feels good to do it. It feels good to do right by somebody, to actually help them. And that's part of the how and the why of what we got into this business in the first place, is the opportunity to help people and know that we made a positive difference.
And that comes down to really corporate attitude. You don't hear a lot of discussion about that unless you've attended a Southern Baptist ministry or an experience where there was one thing that I went to where early on it was talking about the attitude of gratitude. You get your nice alliteration there, or not alliteration, but a nice rhyming to remind you. But it really comes down to customer service. Let's think about that word. It's service for the customer, not self-service. That's service for yourself. If you're a customer service agent and you're just trying to figure out what's the fastest way you can get your problem solved of this customer who's complaining to you is on the phone, and you're trying to get your solution, get this person off the phone because you're measured, or your pay is based upon how many customers you help in an hour. If you're working in a big call center, if you're working someplace, if that's what you're focused on, you will fail customer service because you are in self-service, not customer service. You're not putting the best interest of the customer first. And you may not be a lot of things you can do about it, like the case of the young teen at the register, who doesn't have the power to change. But if you can at least get the information and feed it and let someone know in your organization will have a chance to improve. If it just goes nowhere, well, you're in self-service, you're not in customer service.
A lot of that is like, well, first of all, you would think that that's common sense.
My standards have been lowered.
Right. But it also falls in line with what I do as a coach, as a business coach, strategic guide. That's a big word right now. Strategic guide is getting people to understand how to be fully present with the person across the table. Whether you're in sales, whether you're doing project work, whether you are having a conversation, customer service, like you said, it's not self-service. I am not here, like as a coach, what we do is it's called holding space. I don't have a dog in your hunt, is what I used like to tell people, but that's my redneck showing. So.
That's a good Kentucky, Tennessee phrase.
It is.
People in the Southwest know what you mean. Southeast,
exactly.
Southwest. Yep.
My dog is not in your hunt. I'm just here to listen and here to help guide you into your own solution. But that means I need to make sure that I am fully present. Distractions are gone. I'm not trying to do 5 other things. I'm right here to help you do what you need to do. And it honestly takes intention and practice. Because when I first started that, my brain was totally elsewhere. But there's methods of that. There's training that you can do. But if you don't understand, customer service is about the customer, not you. Even down to your marketing terms. Your marketing is not about you. It's about them and how they perceive you. How do they feel about you when they see your thing that you're trying to solve a problem for them? Mm-hmm. You want them to feel like you can solve that problem. Therefore, they should come to you. It's not about you. It's about the problem getting solved by you for them. So it's so nuanced. And it's so easy to get mixed up in that. And then there's times that people just flat really don't care. They're going to put the donut tire in the front seat and not back where it belongs.
And normally, if you ride with Kent, donuts in the front seat's a good thing.
Well, sure. Glazed.
Sprinkles all the way.
Rainbow sprinkles.
All right, so we've had a great conversation about customer service. Did you have any more?
Now I want to bring up that story. Gabriel Iglesias does a great joke about getting pulled over by a police officer after he's just gone to Krispy Kreme and has got this box of Krispy Kreme donuts. So look it up online. Can't go into it, but very funny.
Are we wrapping this up?
I think we're out for this segment. We will be having another installment of Behind the Front Desk coming our way later today.
Awesome. So we'll get that recorded and onto another episode soon. So thanks everybody for listening. And just one last intentional note here. Basically what we're getting at is why not take a step back into your own practice in your own area and look at how are you being intentional with your own customer service? Because there are plenty of your people out there who probably are not telling you what they like and what they don't like. So how can you get that from them to be able to then turn them into raving fans, which is, by the way, a book I highly recommend.
And making sure that everyone on your team is on the same page when it comes to how you talk about either what happens in the optical or medical treatments. If you're taking some dry eye education and that becomes a staff job to talk about lid scrubs, for example, is everyone explaining it the same way, the same message that you want them to send? Mm-hmm. And that's part of that consistent messaging that means that every customer has the same experience.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, fellas, for another great episode of
Show Don't Tell.
You can find all episodes on
www.telscreen.com.